How you going, guys? Welcome back, part 2 of the build. So we're just going to get into it. These videos are getting long. Next thing, we'll just quickly chuck the battery spy. Works out really well chucking it under here, bringing this around to this side for the battery and sending this down to the receiver around here. So just going to get a bit of 3M. Wondering perhaps, seeing we've cut this little fella here, we'll cut a little bit more of it, and just enough to be on there, just enough to hold underneath on that timber. Just a good little spot, it's out the way. It's got a little red light on it too, which if you tuck it under there you won't see too much. Okay, so I'm going to send this, just going to sit it under here, hide it off in between here, and that'll stay in there. Just got a way hard press to get that, but we'll just give it a second there and really pinch it on. So you'll see under there just quickly it's on the bottom side hanging out. Then we can drive this down here. Let's go along here and then you swing in. We'll install the mechanics next. And you swing it. And you'll see the tutorials will give it when we set up the controller to show your power of your battery rather than the power of your receiver. Which in a way is irrelevant knowing the power of the receiver, because you're not relying on a receiver battery, you're taking it from the 22. So the engine's going to stop a long time before this is going to stop. 7.4 cut off, I believe, on the speed controls around 18, but I'd never risk going down that low. Okay, and that's cut off, you're out of the sky. So I'm going to bring it around here, and on these FLYSRC receivers, bit of glue hanging on, you've got S bus 1 and S bus 2. And that is where the spy plugs in. You've got your S bus here, obviously controlling and signaling everything to the L7 controller. So we will go ahead and install it, and as we're doing, we'll plug all the bits in, and we'll be plugging that into here, the spy into here. We'll be plugging the tail motor into here, and of course you'll be plugging, which is a bit of fun, the LED light into this tiny, and you won't see it, but the little LED port says LED on there that you plug in. It's going to give you all the signals from your controller. Otherwise you're going to try and look in the window and see what the lights are doing on the controller. Okay, so I'm going to make it look at me, which is going to be a bit difficult for you guys, so I can just plug in everything I need and run all the wires down where I want them to run. Okay, so easiest thing to do is get that tail motor first, because you've got the longest amount of lead. You can't plug it in wrong, so I'm not going to explain to you how to do it. Boom, in she goes, easy peasy. And we're going to just make sure it's out of the way over the side of the mounting in the back, and then we can pick it up. I'm just going to make sure these fellas all, I'm going to keep all these extra lighting wires coming down the side here, which will just mean they're accessible for me when we plug in all the front stuff in and go to do those nav lights once I decide what's going on. So you're to come in a little bit closer on this one, and you just sort of sit it back. I mean, it can be quite a pain in the bum, especially if you've got big fingers. And there's an LED, it clearly says LED, so it'd be pretty hard to do that wrong. And you should have your little locator to the top, and in she goes, and make sure it's home. Check, make sure everything's connecting well. Yeah, everything's good, nothing's loose, nothing's too tight pulling on things for vibrations. And you can go ahead, and I probably showed you before in other videos, if you're looking back into that white nylon block, you'll see the 2 black tabs of the helicopter. Slide into that and then screw in through these white nylons on the front, and simply in the front you're just screwing straight down. But we'll slide that in there now, and it'll just lock in. And here's a big one, just make sure this stays clear of going underneath. It's got to stay clear of going over top of the GPS or the controller, or it can cause issues. So just pull it back towards you there, so it sort of tucks back up towards the cab, running completely free of all the controllers. Feed everything in there nicely. Make sure you're not catching anything. And again, before we send it right home, we're going to slide it back out a little bit so that we can plug our S-bus controller in for this one, and our LED controller in there. So before it goes too far home, now we should have enough. Yep. We're going to go, and we're going to still pull it out here and do it through the window. Let's bring it up on the inside. You're not going to have a huge amount left of cable, so definitely, and it goes onto this top bus on the side, which I showed you there. Now again, only going to go in one way, bring through table type plug, and perfect. Slide that in. So that's the battery supply connected. Come around, do your LED now, a bit more room. Plug that LED controller in. And then once everything's home, we can check cables and make sure everything's going to be out the way or tied down in a good spot. So again, sliding back, feed those servo horns in under the frame itself. Sometimes you need to put a bit of an angle on the swash plate to pull your in to get around, and then you're just going through that guide and doing this to slide into those in there before, but now just it's a matter of getting everything to line up nice and not catching on anything, and having that GPS set up high and slide into the right connection. I mean, you had that sitting in there before, now it's just been a pain, and what's happened here is we haven't given ourselves enough cable. So we're going to pull that off here. Should have figured that out, and we'll just have to move that battery supply back a bit, which isn't the end of the world. The tape will be good enough for one more go too, so what we'll do now is send it home, and then we'll plug that in where we need it. And it just slides, so you've got both of them lined up, and the wire's caught, and it'll slide in there. There you go, it slid home, and you can tell when you're home because this will line up into this block in the front. And now we've figured out how much we've actually got there. Let's bring it down. And again, let's keep everything nice and tight. No, we don't want loose wires. Put that back over there because we're going to pull lights through there eventually. And perhaps that'll just sit to the side of that. Very good. That on the side there, nice easy way out though, and this can come around, and these just plug into your balance on your battery to give the spy just on one cell. And then you can set in your remote, I'm just going to put that halfway, make it a bit tidier. You can set in your remote how, when your alarm comes off, what full is and what empty is per cell. Okay, so it's slid in there. Fun part, and the reason why I like my longer tools than the shorter ones, get them down inside there, although MD's been one of the better ones to do it on. And we will have the, I see that I've still got a screw in there, so I don't need both the back ones, we just need the one. And I will be pulling it out again to play around with lighting, so we're not going to put the Loctite on it, we're just going to lock it in so we can do the flight tests and things. So you're just going to look down here, slide in, you'll see the hole there, and they take a minute to get in this one because it's a few threads to get down and do everything perfectly, and that's why this is just a bit longer. You can sort of see the difference here, so you can imagine you'll be just in that annoying spot inside the fuselage. So these longer ones that I have, which are just tuning ones, you can get them anywhere online, AliExpress, whatever, just I find them a bit better. Send that one all the way home. We will get the other one started too, we'll just go a bit more there. And that one, funny enough, like I said, actually from factory they've left the screw in there from the test fitting, and they've still supplied me 2 screws, but I'll just use the one there because it's clearly lined up and ready to go. So you've got to thread them all the way down through the starter, and then all the way down into the piece itself to hold that from sliding forward out of what it's locked underneath. So not that about there, it's just only now, after all those turns, going to go into the back, and I'll just pop it out into the actual back supporting thread that's holding it in there. We'll just send this one home from the side. Just gives a real nice turn, man. Just, you're not going to strip out that knot, but again, just remember your size compared to this, the size of this bloody screw. You don't snap it, but you have to be pretty tough. I'll just send this fella home. Just keep a little bit of pressure on it. Can't see, usually I'll be looking down, having a look at what I'm doing, but I just want you guys to have a little bit of a see what's going on camera wise. And we're nearly home. Feel that bind up, tighten off. Just give it a couple extra flicks. I'm just going to watch now before that goes. Yeah, there we go. We're home. Look, all the little extra features installed. We haven't installed the Wi-Fi on this fella because fortunately they're out of stock, but we'll get more and it's easy enough to install it and we'll show you how to do that. So we'll just put this one up here and out the way. And in fact, the good thing to do is actually loop it around in through here. And then it's always going to be hanging out where the battery hangs out, which is obviously where your balancing port is on the battery. I'll just drag that over and show you what I mean. So this will go in, only one positive, so positive, positive. Select any negative, I always take the end one, so that's giving you the power of one cell. Beauty. Alright, so now we just chuck the front ones on. And here we've got the front ones and then we've got the little wee stabilisey fellas for those like I told you, which I'm probably not going to put in. I've done not pre-drilled. The hole in this little stabiliser is drilled, but not in the, there we go, in the horizontal stabiliser. So I don't want to force the screw in there. Glue's doing good for now. And if we need to, we'll just have to get a really tiny drill bit, probably not such a big drill, and drill through and just locate it. Look at that. Nice short one there, and locked in quite tight, which is really good. Again, I'd use a little bit of Loctite when it's going in there for the last time, but perhaps always on the first time, just don't do that. You can easily pull the screws out once you've test flight everything, and then you're happy with everything and put a bit of Loctite in there. So that's quite simply put together. We've got our stabilisers on, motor comes pre-assembled. Just remember before you start up, you want to open up your 4 blades so it's not really rough vibrations on the machine. Okay, and now we've got the canopy in there, you've got your everything's all pre-installed and built, tested by Flishrc. You've got our little extras installed there. Next thing you do is, and there's quite a big piece of it, so we just make it match. We can always use that for other things, you see. Figure out your battery, so your battery's going to sit here, these are going to come back to there like this, so we want it towards the back of the battery. So getting all that contact that we can. Lift a little bit of the paper there, get rid of that, and stick that fella on there, in the middle of the battery, towards the rear on this one for us, and we can just test it with that, all fits in there, so you know, you've got double, you've got your sticking it to the machine, and you've got your lock, and just don't put that on the edge of the cell, that lock, in case you crush the cell, and then wrap it around like that. And then you've got this, and then you bring this around here at the same time, and you just throw these in here. Like, they don't need to run through there, I just find it a nice neat place to have it. It's out of the way of the canopy. Okay, so let's chuck the canopy on, which is hiding over here, and remember we have marked our light one as being this little source here for the front. So you plug that on, down there, little bugger. Such a tiny little pin, just make sure you line it up and you're not bending anything. They have got a locator thing so you can't put them in backwards. So there we go. Oh, magnet sticking there, and then you just sort of slip this over to the side, up in here out your way when you're fitting it, and look at that. And the good thing about the MD500 is you can actually reach in and grab all this stuff and do it from the window here. Nice, right? So we'll show you a bit of, chuck the lights on. It's looking for the TX obviously, so not going to find one, not be too happy about that, but you've got this light here is not part of your navigation. This tells you everything your controller's doing. So if we turn on the controller and switch through the functions, you'd have different colours for what mode you're in. Easy peasy, let's go, pull that off, and the next thing we'll show you that's pretty cool with this one is we've got the black blades. Yes, they have been balanced and they have little bits of the vinyl tape on them, as you can see, to make sure they're always exactly the same. You can check this if you want to, which we do suggest, and of course you can also trust Flishrc have done a good job themselves, and hence why there's bits of tape on it. So they have been balanced as a matching set and sent out to you. So what have I done there? I used the wrong one. That is the Big Daddy. No, this one. I'll just open that. Not just in there loose because I obviously don't want to use up all of the times you can use that knot bolt on the other end. So just be aware of that too. Each time you pull that off, it's one more time. And you just do them so you've got a bit of movement. They're tightish, but you can move them. Okay, that helps them self-balance. Now again, you've got 5 of them. So you're going to go all the way around and we're going to put 5 blades on. Probably not going to waste your whole time with that. We'll probably cut the video, put all the blades on and show you it finished. So we'll sit down and we'll see what have we forgotten. Haven't forgotten anything, except we will lock off these skids now, which is another thing. So somewhere we're going to see a bag with 4 tiny little grub screws to locate those skids exactly where you want it and in position. Otherwise they do move around, and imagine if you lost one in flight, that'd be a fun landing, wouldn't it? So as I say, I like, and obviously in the more realistic to the real one, we've got very little skid at the back, and we've got a straight up and down position of the skid, and again that's where we want to store the lights. Perhaps later, if we find that's just not something we want to do, we'll just put them in the body somewhere, but we haven't decided. So now let's get these little grub screws, and we can lock that one off, and you can just come in here. You don't have to move it. Probably want to put a bit of Loctite in there, but because we are going to change that, perhaps when we do some lighting, we'll just put the screw in there now to hold. And we'll perhaps just put the one. We probably should have put the far one in. We might put both, but just send it home. You're going to feel it when it doesn't want to go anymore, and that's when it's hanging onto the skid. Oh, so that actually twisted the skid out, which was a bit silly. So I need to release that and just hold it where you want it. Actually wants to sort of twist it over as you do it. So there, that's locked in there now, and you've got 4. So you put all 4 in, but like I said, we are going to. Plus, you also do get your black hoops, so you can put them on. Which we'll probably do it for our test flight soon. We're only going to put a couple of these grub screws in, just to lock it off, and then we'll put the hoops on, and then we know we're not going to lose a skid in the middle of our test flight, which would not be good. I'll just get that to the same. You can use a tape measure, work that out. I'm just going to use my eyeball for now, and you'll notice I'm just on the angle where you want to pick it up. See that roll the thread, and it's sort of this angle here that you're going to be screwing that in. And once we've got there, again, when it locks off, you're going to want to twist that thing just like I did on the other one. So we'll just hold that, tilt it back onto its tail mount, hold that nice and straight where we want it, and lock it off. Oh, and it wants to pull it, always wants to pull it over, just as you lock it. So just hold that with a bit of force to where you want it, and they're locked off, and they're not going anywhere now. And then of course, you do have your loops like a normal set of landing gear. If it was with a set of plastic pole skids, off a normal model you would have these. So for now, we'll slip them on the back. If they're black and they don't look too ugly if they're black. Just don't like it when you end up getting a blue or an orange set. Doesn't look quite right. put those on here. And that's all locked off, means that we're not going to lose those skids off the back, are we? Okay, that locks that out. Now that's starting to look pretty good, guys. So that's actually, apart from gluing this fella back on, which we've unplugged that so we won't, that's actually it finished. Put some blades on, which we're going to show you it all finished, but you've seen our installation. So we've installed the machine, we've added our extra pieces to it. The U-back was already soldered in there, so we're supplying the receiver for lower voltage, then supplying a lower voltage, which is what's we've put those wires in here, which is a bit silly, isn't it? I don't like that. That was not very nice. Still got one cord in there. When they're all plugged in to the right ones, we'll keep them out of the way and that won't be a problem. Okay, so we've installed all the extras, the KiwiRC extras as we call them. And that would be your finished product there with the blades on, and of course another stabilizer there. And when we decide what we're going to do with our port, starboard, whatever side lights, we'll put them on, and that would be your finished product. We're going to cut the video here, we'll put on the rest of the blades. We will bring it back in for a little short video where we will show you the complete finished product. With the MD500 there is no stickers, so nothing to put on watermark wise. This is it. There are some windows which we've got somewhere around on the table, which I am not going to put in, but you've actually got the door windows and the main windows that come with it. We're going to just check all the heat things and that's on. Like, it's good to have cooling, so I don't think it's necessary. But then another thing that could be quite cool on these is to put all the windows in and paint them black so it looks like a nice tinted machine. So there's many things we will consider doing. Let us know what you'd do, and we'll take it into consideration, and we might end up doing your suggestion. But for now, that's the build. We'll be back in a few minutes, show you the blades all on, ready machine, clean up some of the mess, and the next video I'll be flying it, so that'll be cool. Thanks for joining us, guys. Yeah, right, welcome back. We time-lapsed it out, put the other blades on. So you can see it all in all its glory here, ready to go. Beautiful machine, I reckon. Big fan of the Magnum stuff. Watched that when I was a younger fella. Let's take this off to show you what we've done here. Again, like I explained, they're battery spy now, hooked in positive to positive, and any of those negative cells, I like to keep them apart. Let's just put them in there. So let's put this all back together. We tuck our wire up here for our, you like to keep that nice and long because then it means you're not going to pull that wire out when you do take your canopy off. Now just going to flick those in behind there to the side so you don't have any of those wires sticking out. And it goes there. It's all plugged away, the battery spy is plugged in. All we need to do is reach in through the window here, and we're going to power it up before the light's gone. You guys can have a look at it. Okay. So we're plugged in, we're powered up, tuck that back in the window, turn the controller on while it's loading up its thing, which is probably going to annoy it moving it around. We're not flying it now. We'll just move it around so the camera can see. We've got those lights. Got them in the front. Got them underneath, got that one underneath. And we've got the tail. Yeah, it is a really cool one. It's not going to load up because like, what are you doing moving me around? I'm trying to get a GPS location and a level. So look, I went beautiful model of that. I was like, hello, it's alive. Isn't that funny? So just quickly now, we'll show you on here. Yeah, okay. What we're seeing here is RX and TX. I don't know how good the camera's going to see it. Hold there for a minute. So the RX and TX, TX is your battery power in here. RX is, like I said, that supplied power to the receiver itself. Now I'm just going to show you quickly. So keep that zoomed in, and I'll come back here. Tell me when you're happy. Well, I've got to be able to see it too, right? Okay, so you've got to hold down lock for a few seconds. and now we're unlocked. And then you just click in the square up here. Now I cannot see that very well because it's not the great contrast on the screen, so I'm just going to come along here. And you're showing all your battery display. So this is your TX setup, and you can adjust it. Now I've actually adjusted that down because using rechargeable batteries at 1.2 versus the slightly higher voltage non-rechargeable batteries, it'll show it low. Now I want to come down here, and we're on this RX setup, and you'll see the EXT with an X through it. So that's telling it, when you click that, it'll say, are you sure? Yes or no, and we're sure. So that now, if you roll back down to that, oh, no, it didn't want to do it for us. Let's go one more time. No, let's go. My fingers are so big, it's pushing the wrong one. No, still the wrong one. Excuse the little baby finger. No, look, we'll get it. There you go. So it's going to go sense ID is 1. Right? So go OK. And so now it's got a tick in that EXT box, which is external battery. And now you set your voltage here per cell. Now 6 will be an alarm too high, that's way too high anyway, so don't worry about that. 4.2 is fully charged, right? So that's fine. I want to come down here and set your low alarm voltage. Now 3.7 to 3.4 is empty on these cells. So we're going to bring it right down to low being 3.4, which is perhaps a bit lower. Some would like 3.7, 3.6. But I'll bring it home before that anyway. And then you go OK. Right? And now we just go back out of there and it'll lock. But see now that RX power's pumped right up because we've got a full battery. Okay, so you'll be able to see your battery voltage, one cell, which is generally going to be fair enough across the rest of the cells. Deplete here and bring it home around half if you want to. TX is already showing low again because the rechargeables are less voltage than a non-rechargeable AA, funny enough. Okay, it's a simple scenario. That's set up your SPI, better functioning on the control, and then that all mixes to this lovely machine. What should we do now? But I mean, it's in GPS mode. I imagine it wouldn't have any GPSs at this.
Try.
But we'll try it. You wouldn't want to FLYSRC. It is not happy because it doesn't want to unlock, and you think you can fly it on a GPS setting. So let's go to a.
You move the.
Okay. I'll reload it because I think it's not happy because I was moving it around so it never got a home position. So I'll bring that back to GPS. We'll unplug it and we won't move it around this time when it's, oh geez, it's really, really good. Really good. Okay, so it's beeping. Oh no, where's the RX gone? So here we go. Right, hang on to it, let it load back up. Showing full battery again on that RX. Now it shouldn't get GPS inside here, it's a concrete building. So we should have to switch it to the ATT or 6G mode to get it to function. And obviously a good thing to do before you start the motor in any situation is we'll go through the 6G and just check that everything cyclic is correct, up and down, and that we've got the swash plate's correct movement. Now whether or not this will load up, I don't know. But now while it's doing its thing, we can flick it to that 6G, which now it's happy. See, it wasn't finding satellites, now it would be happy to turn on. But in this mode, we can see our corresponding plate movements. So back, bringing the back of the plate down, forward, bringing forward, and the corresponding angles. So you want to see the swash plate moving the same way as the stick activity. Okay, so we've got that, and that's on a position hold, so that should be flat. So if we come down to 6G, you'll see we've got, and that's correct, corresponding. We go up, we've got up. We come down, we've got down. Okay? So we can go back through to the ATT mode, which means that you're not GPS positioned, but you are altitude and perhaps GPS location on your height. Okay, so we should be able to unlock it there.
Your face, if you're gonna. the blade for your face.
Yeah, I'm not going to chop my face off, so we're going to hold it back here. Okay, and we're unlocked now. So let's run it up. Get some RPMs up, make them a little bit warmer. Okay, it went into fail-safe here because it didn't want me to take off without that lock. So if I actually pulled it in the 6G mode, we would get correspondence. But anyway, join us for the next video when we take it outside, we get some GPSs and we get everything together that we need and take it for a flight. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, don't forget, chuck us a comment, say hello and where you're watching from. Take it easy everyone.